Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Weiss-Malik. It's my pleasure today to introduce Dan Rummel of Seero. I met Dan at one of our Geo Developer series. If you don't know what that is, I recommend Googling it. They're a great series of videos. Dan's here to talk about Seero, which is a geo-broadcasting platform, which is a word I'm pretty sure they made up, but I'm sure they're going to define for us. So without further ado, here's Dan.
Hi. So also we have Dave and Justin, my two other co-founders, here. So if you have other questions beyond technical stuff, they should be able to answer those. If they can't, then they're in trouble. So anyway, so yeah, Seero, fusing live video and mapping to create a new breed of content. So I'm just got a quick outline of what I'm going to talk about here. So first, I'm going to do a quick demo and let you know what the heck Seero is and what we're doing, get a taste of what it looks like. Then I want to talk about why we picked the Geoweb, why we're working in the Geoweb, and how Seero fits into that. Then I'm going to get into the tech stuff, talk about some of the features, technology, and ideas we used, and then have some time for questions at the end, if there are any. So let's go to the homepage here real quick. So this is what the homepage looks like. And so let's see. Usually what we like to do is let the site speak for itself in terms of describing what it does. So is this the one, guys? Yeah. So here's Justin and Dave.
Hi, I'm Justin.
And I'm Dave.
And this is Seero.com, the world's first geo-broadcasting platform.
You're watching an archive of a live broadcast that we shot earlier from our Jeep. Seero archives your live broadcasts and stores your GPS course along with it. We're driving in Golden Gate Park to give you a little walkthrough of how Seero works. As you can see on the map to the right, we're moving along John F. Kennedy Drive towards Ocean Beach.
Check out the local information under the map. Right now, we're serving a factoid about the Dutch windmill on the west end of Golden Gate Park, which we're passing as we speak. The star on the map indicates its exact location.
As you're watching, you can also learn about the broadcaster and their profile below, or chat with like-minded people. We made Seero so that people could showcase exciting destinations around the world, live and on location. You could bring viewers on a cross-country road trip with you.
All right, so poor Dave and Justin, not only did they have to record that about 50 times, they've had to watch it about 100. So that's the basic idea, is we've got a mechanism to broadcast live over the internet, over cellular connections, and a mechanism to capture GPS information from any device that you have on your UMPC or whatever laptop you might be broadcasting from. So this is what a broadcaster profile page looks like. We've got the live video and the map, obviously, some factual information about the area, chatting. I got to sign into chat. I'm not going to do that. But and then you can share and then also flag content. So down here we also have some pretty simple stuff. You can import a Google Calendar to let people know when you're live. That's kind of one of the issues, right? If you're live broadcasting, then people have to know when you're going to be going up live. Also, we've got a survey and then a bunch of other local feeds from where you are. So as you can see, the site's really built around location, and we wanted to make it, really open-ended, give you the freedom to explore wherever you want, and check out the content that you want. So for example, here I'm navigating over to one of our, that's Alcatraz, I want to go to Angel Island. One of our content partners, Open Road TV, we can just go and find one of their videos.
Our next stop is a place that blacktop backroads don't reach.
If you notice, so that's Doug McConnell. I don't know if you guys ever watch Bay Area Backroads, but they have a blog called Open Road TV, really great blog, and they do all this very location-based kind of video content, really high-quality, well-produced stuff, and so they wanted to use Seero to kind of promote their content. But as you can see, right when I clicked that video, this without a page reload or anything, it just brought up all new information about this new broadcaster and it looks like it's a little slow to update the rest of it. But it updates all that broadcaster information. So that's a basic touch as to what Seero is doing. Oh, actually, why don't I go into the back end here? Let me sign in real quick. So on the back end, we've got,
Hi,
well,
I'm Justin,
there's Justin
And I'm
and
Dave.
again.
and this is Seero.com.
So this is our live broadcasting module. It's all flash-based, web-based broadcasting. I won't go into that too much because it's pretty self-explanatory. We also do allow you kind of as a supplementary thing to upload geotag videos. And then here's the profile and archive section where you can do all the basic editing of your information. And you can also, you notice when I reloaded that page, Dave's video automatically started playing. So you can actually set up your own playlist as people come and visit your page. You can automatically spoon feed them content that either is previously recorded or previously uploaded. So that's kind of, again, supplementary to the live content because it's, not everyone can be on the internet when you're doing something live. So, and then of course, a whole bunch of other stuff. This is the archive section. Looks like we did a bunch of test broadcasts there. So then we're integrated with Twitter, Google Calendar stuff, and then here's where you edit your survey and a weather feed as well. So let me just jump back to my PowerPoint. So this is just kind of a little text map of what Seero is about. There's a lot of stuff in there, but really the big ones that pop out are the live video, the mapping, and all of the services that go along with mapping, sharing, and of course exploring. We wanted to use the ability of Google Maps, and I'll show you later in Google Earth, use that ability to explore wherever you want and find content in a very open-ended fashion. So next I want to talk about why. Why are we building this site in the Geoweb? Why are we using this as our foundation? And to do that, I want to take a look quick at the idea of exploration and media. So exploration, what is exploration? It's when you physically get up and go somewhere and you really experience something through your own eyes, and it's really the purest form of experiencing any event or place. So I just listed some ways that we go exploring. We have our feet, bikes, ships, planes, trains, and automobiles, and that's all great. They've made it very fast and easy for us to travel, but it still takes a lot of time and expense. So thankfully, people are really smart, and they said, well, if we actually sacrifice actually going there and use technology to give us a window into those places, then we can bring the efficiency of that really high and let more people do it, and let people do it much more easily. So we've got radio, movies, and TV, and of course the internet, right? And so that's great, right? You have this window where you can view the world. You can watch Travel Channel. You can go kind of exploring within this framework, right? And so, but what's different with media is that because there's that framework, because you're looking through a window that's very well controlled, it provides an opportunity for the content to be filtered as well as distorted and manufactured. So what that means is that you're not getting content from everywhere, which can be good and bad in terms of filtering, right? I don't really want to know what's happening in Wichita, Kansas if a new grocery store is opening up. That's fine. I don't need to get that information. But it could also be bad in the sense, some governments are censoring information for political reasons. Of course, every time you turn on the news today, you might see a distorted news broadcast. But again, that could be good sometimes because sometimes you really just need to hear something supporting your candidate or trashing another candidate. And I think actually the greatest thing is through these mediums in television and movies, you can manufacture stuff. There's CG these days, great movies like Lord of the Rings, Jurassic Park, things like that are just fantastical and we'd never see in real life. We can kind of, experience other worlds, different things. But of course, that can be, taken advantage of. You can convince people of things that aren't true necessarily. So that's kind of how media is different. And what happens is when especially when we're today barraged with all different types of media, we kind of become desensitized to those media sources and disconnected in a way. And that's, when you see fantastical things like Jurassic Park, you say, well, Afghanistan's not that bad because there's not dinosaurs running around, right? Well, of course, we're all smart and we know that that's not reality. But still, the visual image has become much less effective in today's world. And the media, in terms of motivating people and conveying information, is a little tamed down and not quite as effective. So, as humans, I think we're evolving beings, and our culture is changing all the time. And so I really think our culture has very recently, in this almost suffocating environment surrounded by all kinds of media, we've been trying to reconnect with those mediums. And so you look at, I think the earliest one is probably radio call shows or call-in shows where you can call into the radio and all of a sudden you hear your friend on the radio, you hear yourself on the radio, and that medium is all of a sudden validated more for you. Also, we've seen a boom of reality TV. It's kind of the same thing. You see your friend on there, someone from your hometown or from your home state, and all of a sudden that medium is a lot more valid. You can relate to this person. You can connect with this person to some degree. Of course, some reality TV is just completely outlandish. You can't believe that these people are real. That's part of the interesting thing. And then, of course, there's the internet, which is even easier to connect with because everybody's putting up their personal web pages or blogging and claiming their own little piece of land on the internet, right? And saying, I'm a part of this medium. I'm in this whole media experience when you browse the internet. And then a friend of mine said, we were talking about why there's so many trollers out there that are in comments, forums and different comment threads, just trashing a ton of people and saying stuff, and you're just like, why is this person doing this? Well, they're interacting with the medium and getting attention through it, validating the medium that they're spending so much time on and becoming a part of it. And looking at the huge explosion of social media, I think a big reason that's been so successful is because it's grounded in your reality, because your friends who are already on there automatically give you some relation to that. And so you're connected to that network that's already there. So it's very easy to take that medium as being valid and interesting to you. So, okay, so I was going on, but how does that really all relate to the Geoweb? Well, what's the first thing that you do when Google Earth came out or when Street View came out? Anyone was the first thing you did? You went and you looked at your house, right? And then the next thing you just looked, where'd you go to school? And then where'd you go to college? That's a dorm that I lived in. This is where I used to work, and that's where I am now. And so every time you open up Google Earth or Street View comes out or on Google Maps, you instantly have a point of connection. This medium knows all about you already. It doesn't know about you specifically, but it knows everywhere you've been, where you are now, and probably where you want to go. So it's a great foundation to really kind of connect people with whatever else there is to explore. So we think that's one of the reasons that Google Earth has been downloaded so many times, and the Geoweb is really starting to take off, is because people can really connect to that. So Seero's foundations relating to that, we're a free net service, so we kind of, through that idea, we're not blocking people. Of course, some people who are putting up explicit content or copyrighted content, we have to deal with that. But generally, we're going to let people broadcast what they want. So that allows for a more inclusive medium. The live video, it limits distortion. It gives you a much more raw picture of what's happening at that event or that place. And kind of brings down that kind of surreal feel of a lot of the movies and stuff that we see today. And of course, it's part of the Geoweb, which breaks down that limiting framework that, television, you have to sit in front of your TV and you're limited by that screen on your TV and what's on the TV guide. So it's really open-ended in terms of exploring and finding new content. So yeah, so now I'm going to get into the tech stuff. So some quick things just to get out of the way, because I know some of you will probably ask us. We are running on a LAMP stack, and it's PHP is the P in that. We're using Amazon Web Services, EC2 and S3, EC2 for media clustering and things like that, because we have to stream stuff. And our media protocol is RMTP, which is the standard for Flash video streaming. So we had some interesting challenges when we started putting this together. We really, really wanted to maintain the usability of the UI and the intuitiveness. I'm sure you've seen lots of Google mashups, map mashups, where you zoom out too far, and all of a sudden there's just a big, crazy, ridiculous cluster of of icons, and you can't navigate anywhere. You click on something and a different window opens up, or you can't really make any sense of the data. So that was one thing we didn't want to have happen. We wanted to be really careful about how we dealt with that. We wanted to be able to handle lots of dynamic geodata, right? People are going to be up broadcasting, save that video, delete that video, different things. Joining the site, we need to be adding broadcasters to our broadcaster map. And also we want to be as inclusive as possible. So imagine, I mean, you saw when I was kind of around San Francisco, there's a ton of content around San Francisco, mainly because we're hanging out in San Francisco a lot, and a lot of our friends are in San Francisco. But we wanted to make sure that all of those videos have a chance to be found on the map. And so those are kind of some of our interesting and big challenges that we had. So the first thing we did was we said, obviously, we need some kind of clustering, right? We needed to take where there's a whole bunch of stuff. We need to, when you're far out, you need to get a quick view of what's going on. And we need the person to be able to relate to that as well. So the idea we came up with is let's cluster based on what people already know. So people understand the countries, the regions, the cities, the towns, and then eventually once you get close enough, you don't need those landmarks and you just cluster based on grids. So in a second, we'll go and take a look at that a little closer in more detail, and you'll notice that that's how the clustering works. It's not based on a purely gridded system or just randomly showing a few sparse videos when you're zoomed really far out. It actually connects to actual cities, actual countries, or states, depending on what zoom level you are. And of course, that's done server side, and I'll get into a little bit more of that. So sorry about the headers overlaying. This computer doesn't have the fonts that I had on mine. But so we decided that we would do the clustering using KML files by creating tiles of KML files, such that the viewer window would then know, well, I'm at this zoom level, so I need this tile. It's very similar to the way Google Maps loads its image layers, right? The window knows, okay, I'm from this latitude to this latitude and this longitude to this longitude, load these different tiles. And so we took the same idea to KML, and we, server-side, create these KML files such that they tile out to create the map of what you need at that zoom level. So then the requests for those files are managed on the client side through JavaScript. It basically knows what the viewport is and loads those tiles. And importantly, it only loads it once. So if you go back to, let's say you're at the United States view, it'll load that whole tile. And then if you go somewhere else and then zoom back out there, it won't reload it again from the server because it already has it. So that's kind of nice. Minimizes requests and some processing. So also, what comes out of that is we can easily do dynamic data. A lot of geodata that you have, you get a whole bunch of it all at once. You have like terrain maps or something like that, and you can just batch process the whole thing. But our data set's interesting because it's growing. Some pieces are getting taken out. And so this way we can actually dynamically update only the tiles or the KML files that need updating. So here you can see in the diagram, if something's clustered down to into this tile, and then we know every tile above that instantly because those tiles are indexed or follow an algorithm that indexes them very easily. So let's take a look at that. Let's go to the home page. So I'm just going to switch to videos here. And so here I'll go on one more. Here in North America, you can see as I click on California, then I get all these California. I actually get the top 10 in California since there's so many in California. And as everything is, Colorado, and same thing for our broadcaster KML. And so this is all being loaded. You can kind of see as individual tiles get loaded. Actually, I can probably make one disappear for a second. And then you'll notice all those load together. So that group there is all on one tile. And again, these are all based on states at this level. And if we zoom into California here, let's just zoom in this way. So I start to zoom in, and you'll notice all of a sudden California broke into, there's Los Angeles, San Jose, and San Francisco. If I zoom in even further on the Bay Area, then we get San Jose, Fremont, San Francisco again, I believe Oakland, Modesto. And we keep going, and you notice how, for the most part, not much is being left out. Of course, when you get really far out, you don't want to have a list of 10,000 videos all coming up in California. That would be kind of a pain to look through and take forever to display. But so you can see, even as we keep going in, the videos continue to break out. So at this level, we're basically clustering on a grid. So these two, if I zoom out, they should probably cluster together. Oh, I lost where they were. Oh, they didn't actually cluster together. They're still separated. But so yeah, you get the general idea of that. And again, the tiles are still functioning in a similar way. Let's see if I can get some to disappear here. So there, those are gone, and then that KML loads, and it's pretty snappy because it's already loaded at once. It's just one server request, which is pretty nice. And so then that's also reflected on the broadcaster side. Let's just click a video here. And here you notice, since we've got a lot going on the page, we'll just pause the video. We had to really make sure that the map was really well done in terms of not being too overwhelming. So, and that's loading the same KML tiles as the homepage was. So that's the nice thing of also doing it. You do it once and you can reuse it a lot of times, and you don't have to query the database. And also Google does some caching on their side, so it actually pings our server even less. Yeah, so let's see, what is next? So another thing that we're really trying to do is get KML feeds out there to the people. People put all their content up there on our site, and we want them to be able to share it with other people and let other people explore their content. So we're utilizing network links, so that way you don't have to download a new KML feed. You can just keep the same file or keep a link to the same file in your Google's API, and it will update as you update your Seero content. Of course, then we can also put in updates if we want to change the format or we totally rebrand the site or something like that. We can do that on the fly. And of course, we include that in our sitemap, so all of your content is then indexed into Google My Maps. So let's see, quick demo of that. So we've got this really great guy. Oops, I did what I wasn't supposed to do. We've got this really great guy, Craig Stanton, and he's this crazy kind of adventurer guy. And in, when was it? It was 2006, I think. 2006, I could be wrong on that. He hiked all the way from Mexico to Canada along the Pacific Crest Trail. And so he was really anxious because he has a map on his website and his blog where he has, his blog is actually geotagged. So everywhere he goes on his hike, he geotags his blog, and then that comes up on his site. And so he was really pushing us to get this out in a hurry because he just left on a trip for Japan. And so this map is actually kind of mimics what could be on anyone's site. So there it loads, and then you have a direct link back to the video, a little thumbnail. And so yeah, so you can see all the videos he's put on Seero for the Pacific Crest Trail, and we can go to his webpage here. Is that loading? And then I'm just going to skip right to his map here. And so he landed in Japan, I think, 2 days ago. And if we just turn on the videos layer, then you can see that these little icons popped up here. And that was his last video post from Craig. And do you know where he is? He's at the Shibuya intersection. Shibuya. And so we can just click that and take people straight to his video.
This is the Shibuya crossing. It's the world's busiest pedestrian intersection. And every few minutes the cars are held back and people just go everywhere. Hundreds, maybe even thousands of people cross this intersection every time. And you've got to get out very quickly because otherwise the cars start coming back and get run over. Right? I'm going to go back where else. Get out of the way.
Anyways. We really like Craig. He's really fun. He's a good guy. he's been beta testing for us for a while and had a lot of good input. So let me go back to this, and I think I have to jump ahead fast here. So, I wanted to do one other thing, show you one other thing quick. So, another thing that we just released a couple days ago is our Seero Live KML. So you can actually watch live broadcasters in Google Earth. Before I show you this, I want to talk about a little bit how we do it, and it really shows off some of my favorite part of KML, and I really could see a lot of powerful applications for it beyond what we're doing. We're really not doing anything that tricky, and I feel like other people who have a lot more time on their hands could do some pretty amazing stuff. So why don't I just zip to this and we'll talk about how we do it. So what we're using is a network link and a network link control. So there's these tags in KML, the update option, and there's the create, change, and delete, and then also the cookie. And so what we do is, let's say there's 3 broadcasters, Larry, Curly, and Mo. And so the first time you load this KML layer, the cookie that you get back from Google Earth is empty. And so then you basically execute 3 times. You create Larry, Curly, and Mo. Nothing too fancy. And then, of course, you include all the information for that KML file. Then comes back the next request, which is only 4 seconds later. They've moved a little bit. So you can go ahead and change things about Larry, Curly, and Mo dynamically in that KML file without reloading the whole thing. A standard network link, the way it works is, I don't know, how many people do any KML developing or anything? Only a few of you, okay. So a standard network link, what it does is it refreshes every 4 seconds or 5 seconds, and it refreshes the whole file and overwrites. It erases everything you had before and then overwrites again. So that has some strange effects where it can remove things and then put them back. And I'll show you when I do the demo that it would be harmful for us to destroy everything on the map. So basically then the next thing you can do is delete. So let's say Curly signs off. Then in that network link control, you basically fire off a delete for Curly, and he'll just disappear off the map, and he'll be done. So maybe I'll just talk about that a little more as I do this demo. So, by the way, I forgot to mention, so there's Craig's videos also loaded in Google Earth. It's the same KML feed that Craig had before. It looks like it's a little slow on the server there, but so yeah, so those all work in Google Earth, of course. So I'm going to turn this one on, and this one up here. So with this feed and the new feature that you can actually load Flash. Oh, it looks like he just went not live. Huh. So now let's zoom in here. And so Dave here is actually broadcasting right now under my account. So there we go. So that's in this room right here. And we can zoom in a little closer here. But so what's happening here is this Seero live connection is a network link into which loads a foundation file, which there's basically nothing in it but styles and things like that. And then the Seero updater, that's a network link control. And maybe I should kill the audio. So that's a network link control, and what that does is says, okay, what needs to be added to this layer right now? And the really nice thing is that we can then update the information. Let's get a window that I can. Oh, where am I going? So I've got a little script on my phone that will hijack the GPS feed here. So normally you'd just be, walking around or driving around, and your GPS would naturally be updating. But so you notice the little guy started to move there. And he's actually going to move behind the thing so we can't see him. But so what's happening is the network link control is going back to the server and saying, okay, well, what's changed about this guy? Let's see if I can get one where we don't have to. And if we were to just reload the whole KML file, I can't get him to clicking too much. So there he goes. So if we were just to reload the whole KML file, this info window would close, and we wouldn't be able to continuously watch the video as he moves around. So you see he's zipping around doing kind of a circle. Basically, the script takes me in a little circle hike of about half a mile. So, so by using this functionality of KML in Google Earth, we're able to really present a dynamic experience with the video and as well as with the movement of the broadcaster. So it's kind of tough on this small screen because everything's so pinned together. But so he's almost back to where he belongs. And so then the whole time you can watch the video. That's really the point of that. So yeah, that's that. And I think so let's see, I'm going to have to skip way forward. So looking forward, where do we want to go with this? We see a lot of potential in terms of adding other layers, giving people more stuff to look at on stuff like Google Earth. And you know, we've been throwing around ideas how we want to do that, whether we just display popular videos, all the videos, or just recent videos. Of course, we want to add widgets so people can embed this in their own sites. We've had a lot of people request this already, that they've got some blog about a road trip they're doing, or they've got this guy, adventure biker, he's down in Florida, and he does these crazy adventures on his bike. And he wants to blog about that on the next to all of this content. And so one thing that we'd like to do is make it easier for people to create their own maps. So we're thinking about making a Google Gear embeddable map. So you don't have to know anything about the API. Basically, you just get an embed code right from the site, and you can plop that down and automatically centers on your content, and people can browse that at will. And of course, some people are doing some really cool stuff with Google Maps and Flash. And we kind of want to integrate the video and the map into one little widget that will display your content, display your live content, all on your site. And of course, we are looking at mobile applications, or mobile applications on cell phones and things like that. Right now, we're kind of got an initiative going to get a Symbian application out. Some other companies have done live video from Symbian cell phones. We think we can do the same thing and then also take advantage of the location-based services in those cell phones to kind of make the broadcasting equipment needed much more mobile, much lower cost. So right now, Dave, he's got an OQO, which is our favorite little device to broadcast from. It's basically a mini computer that can run anything. And you know, you don't want to haul around your laptop, pull a Justin TV all the time where you have a laptop and a webcam attached to you. If you can just pop up at some event, it can be much more spontaneous that way. So, and of course, we're watching Android as well, because we think a lot of the APIs and services there will be really in tune with what we're looking to do. So, yeah, any questions? Mm-hmm.
And in the subsequent videos, it looked like there were single markers to denote where the people are.
Right.
Do you have any solutions that, you know, I have a video where I'm chatting to while I'm on my car going from San Francisco to San Mateo? Draw a line string at all, or?
Right. So we are working on, it kind of goes along the lines with working with the Google Maps and Flash. We want to build a, I don't know what to really call it, like a post-processing geo editor. So you have some video, and let's say it's something like that, you're going down some path, or it even cuts from one place to another, then we can input the metadata for those waypoints after the fact. So let's say you record it with your just digital camera, then you can upload it and then use this editor to say, well, at 5 seconds into the video, I was here at Google, and then 30 seconds in, I was in San Francisco, and then 40 seconds in, I was over here. So it's kind of a whole new form of editing to actually take you along for the ride with that video. So yeah, we're working on doing that, and it seems like the best way to do that is through Flash, because you can you don't have to have the video talking to through a proxy to the JavaScript and stuff like that. So once we get a little more familiar with the Flash Google Maps stuff, then you'll probably see something like that. Yeah.
Have you thought about a maplet?
You know, Pamela Fox last night was talking about the difference between Google gears that run maps, Maplets, and there's another one that's kind of in between, My Maps layers or something like that. And you know, they all kind of blend together. My understanding is a maplet only runs at maps.google.com. Yeah, we're thinking about doing something like that. It's as I understand, it's kind of like a layer for Google Earth, but it's browsable in the directory. And so, yeah, definitely would be something we'd be looking into. It's just got to kind of focus on a few things and go with those. So.
Traveling to this country, so I just want, you know, I don't want like local news there. I just want
travel.
There,
Yeah. So the question was, are we basically the concept of channels is kind of the way we look at it. Right now, I mean, we just opened up the site for public access 2 or 3 weeks ago, so we're still just building a base of content. So you know, filter it by travel or something, then you're only going to have a couple videos here and there. So, but once we get a little critical mass, it's definitely something that would be very interesting. In the broadcast section, we already have a way that you can title your video, and we'll add your live video, and then we'll add that you can tag it as well. Of course, then there's challenges is if we go mobile onto cell phones, nobody likes typing a bunch of stuff on their cell phones too. So. So yeah, we're tackling that kind of issue. But yeah, again, it's a critical mass thing that hopefully we have to deal with that in the future. So. Yeah.
Are you doing anything to capture which way you're pointing?
Yeah, if you watched right now, so what's happening? Actually, I can go to this feed in here, and you'll actually notice. Let me just run this little script again. So there I am. I can even zoom in a little closer here. So you'll notice this guy, we are capturing heading of this broadcaster as he moves around. Now, right now I'm just running a script on my phone to do that, but you know, we do capture. We're using NMEA compatible GPS devices, so you get a lot of information from that. And this little marker there does indicate the direction that you're traveling. So, of course, when you're sitting still, if you've used GPS, it'll kind of spin you in a little circle sometimes. But
the direction you're moving isn't necessarily where you're looking.
Oh, where you're looking. Yeah, that's a difficult problem. Yeah, that's always a tough problem. I don't think we're going to solve that one anytime soon, because you'd have to have some kind of new device that really can tell where you are looking, and I don't know of, you know, we want to try to get to as many people as possible, and so mobile phones and stuff aren't going to have something that's integrated with the camera to really figure that out. I'm not really sure, but if you have ideas, I'd love to hear how we might be able to solve that problem. Maybe in the real world we could have an algorithm that compares to Street View and then figures out which way you're heading or which way you're looking.
Have you looked at any kind of anti-shape post-processing? A lot of handheld videos are
Yeah.
nauseating.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you can kind of see it there. It's even worse on the cell phones. I don't know if you guys have seen some of the other companies that are doing the Nokia live broadcasting. It can get kind of worse, and that's got the kind of like sideways waviness too because of the way it stripes the video out. So I think in time, technology is just really going to start to get better and better, and you know, the bandwidth is going to go up hopefully soon in terms of wireless bandwidth. and that problem might just solve itself rather than just by being able to push more data rather than having algorithms to solve that problem server side. So, anything else? All right, thanks a lot.